Now the earth was formless and empty. Darkness was over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. Genesis chapter 1, verse 2.
We have created every living thing from water. Islam, the Quran. In the beginning, everything was like the sea and without life. Hinduism, the Rig Veda.
While God never says water is the source of life, it is still at the basis of creation.
One of the first things to exist was water.
The waters were separated by land, allowing for creatures and plants to exist.
According to Inuit and Iroquois history, animals like seals, whales, and walrus dove down into the water to bring up land from depths.
Water can be seen as a symbol of healing and purification.
Celtic animism believes that water is an entity that connects all external things, humans, animals, and plants.
Baptism is the combination of water and God's Word that represents a rebirth, a sort of spiritual cleansing and the forgiveness of sins. There are two types of sin, actual and original. Actual sin is the bad stuff we actually do, such as killing, lying, and stealing. Everyone was born with original sin, but baptism by water cleanses us from that sin. No one can enter the kingdom of God unless they are born of water and the Spirit. John chapter 3, verse 5.
Buddhists offer water as a sacrifice, which they see as a plentiful and more valuable thing than treasures. You don't have to steal, hurt others, borrow, or tell falsities, all things Buddhists believe are wrong, in order to get it. But now, people in Flint can't get it. The people of Standing Rock are being hurt to protect it.
In Isaiah chapter 44, it says, "For I will pour water on the thirsty land, and streams on the dry ground." God also says he'll pour out his Spirit. Water, like the Spirit, is needed for life.
So when we abuse water, we're abusing a higher power. Hindus believe that the Ganges River, which begins its flow high up in the Himalayas, is a holy source. Immersing a person in these waters purifies them. But now, the Ganges has become more polluted by industrial waste, defecation, and trash. Every day, 1.7 billion liters of industrial waste and 89 million liters of sewage are dumped in. But people continue to immerse infants, children, adults, and elders into these waters. They want to believe that purifying qualities of water still exist.
I thirst. John chapter 19, verse 28. The absence of water is present at Christ's death on the cross, a moment that is sad and celebrated by Christians today. Earth to earth, ashes to ashes, dust to dust.
The Dust Bowl challenged beliefs about there being a God of any kind. Religious people abandoned their ideology after seemingly no response to prayer.
There was also an excess of water when God flooded the earth during the time of Noah in order to cleanse it of wicked and evil.
There are over 200 flood myths. Nearly every culture has some version of Great Flood, sometimes based in fact, and sometimes based in folklore.
The world may very well end with water, but God promised to never again flood the earth.
But this is mankind's doing, not God. Anyway, many of these ideals are antiquated.
You're right. I mean, we don't put any stock in the Ponce de Leon's fountain of youth.
Hey, check it out, a wishing well. Here's to wishing for a better future. found water.
Water. What do you know of eternity? As much as any force on earth?
Down the eons, you have poured your cups, twisted up your water spouts, heaved your great flames. You have sobbed and sighed, sparkled and laughed, alternately slammed flat our fragile structures, and caressed and cradled us in your smooth rocking.
What do you have to teach us? Your capacity to vary? Your ability to endure? Your ceaseless energy? The force of you comes ashore and dies there. Yet comes another, comes another, comes another. Froth, foam, bubbles, nothing.
How, O destructive element, can I abide the days of your coming in, coming in, coming in? Because you are no single thing. You console us with your eternal arch and spirit, even though you spite us.
You provide us the bounty of your myriad whales, crabs, shrimp, eels, and fishes.
But above that, you offer us your beauty. You are energy made beautiful. And what are we ourselves but energy? Like you, we live by our inner tides and cycles.
We, like you, must always heave and move. May sometimes sparkle. May luxuriate in ourselves. Waves, you are a pattern that fills all the available space like stars.
Water, you tell me what I am.
And what I may yet be.
What is water?
Water was first. This is the blue planet. Humanity emerged from the oceans over thousands of years, evolving like a miracle. You discovered water because you could not explain water or control water.
Why do you suppose some people would refer to water as H2O? What is water?
Water gods exist because the power of water has always been a mystery.
Water is one of the most common substances on our planet, and it covers over 70% of the surface of the earth.
Scientists, like us, believe that the amount of water on Earth does not change appreciatively over time. In other words, we believe that the amount of water on Earth today was the same during the reign of the dinosaurs.
The more you know, the less you understand.
A water molecule has 3 atoms, 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atom. That's why water is sometimes referred to as H2O. A single drop of water contains billions of water molecules.
I am eternal and you are not. Disrespect me and you shall feel my wrath.
Water needs so greatly to love that she will endure almost anything, even abuse.
And water's not this kind. Her song will not hurt you.
Water occurs naturally in 3 forms that people see every day.
It can be seen as a breath from your cooking, or unseen as humidity from the air.
It can be solid like snow or ice.
It can be liquid, like a beverage, like whiskey. Liquid gold. It can be a stream, like a river or the ocean. And water can fall from the sky. We are water, and water surrounds us.
Water is life. And there can be no life without water.
I remember falling into the water. It was terribly cold. I felt my clothes clinging about me and hampering my movements. And as I rose to the surface, I gasped for breath. My mouth was filled with water, and I sank again. I was chilled through and through. Then a sort of delirium came over me. There was a ringing in my ears. I remember nothing more. So this is what it feels like to drown.
Drowning persons die in different ways.
I remember. There was snow on the ground. I was 5 years old and playing with some friends down the street. A neighbor of my friends had a above ground pool. There was a cover on top and a big ball in the middle. Ice was on top of the pool. We decided to hop the fence and go skating. We found a ladder and dragged it over. There were 3 of us. Mikey was 6 years old.
Drowning persons die by
Number 1, by suffocation, followed by asphyxia while unconscious. Some of these victims died instantly. Number 2, by apoplexy, followed by asphyxia while unconscious. And number 3, by asphyxia, pure and simple.
After getting the ladder next to the pool, I climbed up. I wanted to go skating. So I put one foot in front of the other and started pretend ice skating with my boots on. I got about 6 feet in when I hit a soft spot. My foot went right through and then my body followed. I was wearing so many layers of clothes. The water was freezing and I was screaming to my friends. Eventually I could see my friends blurry through the ice. I screamed as I was swallowing more water. I was in so much pain and terror. Next, all I remember is not screaming anymore. I felt no pain. It was lovely. I remember music. Music I'd never heard before but seemed so familiar. I just drowned.
Death is the bargain we all agree to the moment we are born. Water, like death, can sometimes be in a hurry.
Deaths which occur under the first 2 categories are rapid and painless, constituting a half, perhaps 3/4 of all deaths by drowning. Deaths which come under the 3rd category, which we presume are not accompanied by physical suffering for these reasons.
Number 1. Persons who have been resuscitated after having become unconscious declare that they have felt no pain whatsoever.
Number 2, persons who lose their presence of mind are so occupied with their struggles and mental agony that a slight degree of physical pain goes unnoticed.
Number 3, persons who do not lose their wits become so exhausted and chilled that when the final act comes, they can only make a feeble resistance.
My best friend's family invited me to vacation with them in Hawaii. It was the summer before high school started. We had a pocket of days in the lush beauty of Hawaii where we could be young girls, marveling at black sand beaches, snapping pictures of waterfalls on the drive to a volcano, and Johnny Lands as we poked at koi during a luau. On our 4th day there, we all rented boogie boards to play in the surf on the beach, nestled under a lookout point at the end of the highway. We didn't see the no trespassing sign. We thought that having the beach to ourselves was a stroke of luck. We didn't know that we would need a lifeguard. We never would have believed that anything dangerous or life-threatening would befall us under that perfect blue bowl of sky. But danger rushed toward us in the form of foamy white-capped waves. My best friend and I found her mom face down in the water, and there was no one to call out for except her 17-year-old brother, who was struggling his way to shore. We pumped our mom's chest with our 13-year-old palms, begging her to come back to life. We prayed for the water to stop pouring out of her mouth and nose, but we couldn't save her. As I ran to find help, I convinced myself she wasn't gone forever. I didn't believe that someone could die on a beach this beautiful, in a place that smelled like lilacs and salt water.
Death is the bargain we all agree to the moment we are born.
Thank God. We set up on our boat from Thailand 25 days ago. Me and the other 18 guys from Burma and Thailand
water started leaking in, we weren't too worried. Just bail it out. But water kept coming in. And then a storm hit. The seas got heavy and our boat was gone. I managed to get into a cooler we had on board along with
Another fisherman, also from Burma, also in my 20s. Thank goodness for this. Most fishing boats have a cooler for storing fish, but are we ever lucky we ended up in it?
We floated. Water provides buoyancy, keeping things on top of the water. The water saved our lives.
After we capsized, we found our way to this. I saw a couple of the other sailors in the water, but they never liked after their engine on.
We were found to the Torres Strait by the Australian Maritime Safety Authority. We were 70 miles northeast of Australia, far from home.
A bathtub-sized core in the middle of the ocean. They only saw us because we used our shirts to wave like flags.
Floating through shark-infested waters, weathering Cyclone Charlotte, the odds were against us.
We survived after the rainwater collected in the cooler from when it was open, and some remaining fish in the bottom from before the boat sank.
The water could have ended our lives, but it saved us.
We floated, not sank.
January 16, 2009. We were lifted from the water, safe, but very tired and dehydrated. Our first words to our rescuers were,
"Do we have a drink?"
Ok, venite avanti per favore, seguitemi. Salve a tutti, benvenuti a Venezia. Or for the American friends, hello and welcome to Venice. My name is Kathryn, and I'll be your tour guide today. As some of you may know, Venice is one of the oldest cities in Italy and was founded approximately in 400 AD. The people who first moved into the bay came all the way from the Italian mainland and were able to create something absolutely incredible, especially considering the old-fashioned technologies and techniques used at the time. The people who first moved into the bay honored the sea like a god. Their rituals still remain in the Venetian traditions in our bay. Every year, the Festa della Sanza, Ascension Day, gets everybody on their boats and bridges to honor the sea and ask the water to protect the city in a centuries-old ceremony called Lo Sposalizio dei Mari, the wedding of the sea. But the sea doesn't always listen. Please follow me. Please sit down. More and more frequently, Venice is threatened by those we call maree eccezionali, the exceptional tides. When the wind of the south, Yoshinobu, pushes the waves towards Venice in spring and fall, the city falls underwater. The first high tide ever recorded was on the 16th of April 1936, then in 1951, then consistently during the 1960s and the 1980s, and almost every year between 2008 and 2018. On the 12th of November 2019, just a few months ago, Venice was flooded by 187 centimeters of water. The situation was dramatic. The water flooded street and square, trapped people inside their own houses. The water was coming out from everywhere, sinks, showers from under the door, even from the sockets in the wall. In a matter of minutes, most of Venice was without electricity, light, and clean water. When the mayor and the scientists evaluated the damages, the situation was dramatic. Shops, houses were still flooded by the salt water. Many streets and squares were still submerged, and water level reached well above the knees. Electric lines were out. It was impossible to safely move around town, even with boats. Sit down, please. Come this way. Please go there. The artistic damage was the worst. Many museums and smaller churches got flooded, as well as St. Mark cathedrals, for centuries one of the symbols of Venice. The water broke through the window on the first floor and quickly got into the navigation, the crypt. The salt water destroyed the decoration on the floor as well as the walls, but most importantly, it strengthened the stability of the column, which if not restored quickly, could cause structural damage and collapse. There is a solution to devastation. Project Moses, named after the biblical character Moses, consists in a series of floating barriers anchored to the bottom of the sea. They are supposed to protect the city from the exceptional tides, but sadly the scientists are still far from completing. Venice is in danger. Our home, our city of which we are proud of, one of the most beautiful places on earth, is slowly dying. One of my biggest fears is that one day I'll be on a boat getting out to her and I'll say, see, here's where Venice used to be. We cannot let Venice become another legend. We cannot let Venice be the new Atlantis. Now, follow me, I'll be happy to answer some questions.
Torture destroys us all.
are above the head.
The environment nature of waterboarding has changed. Very little over 500 years.
17th century Dutch traders used it against British rivals in the East Indies.
The Japanese in World War II, the French in Algeria,
In Cambodia, the Khmer Rouge used waterboarding against its own people.
the British against Arabs and Jews in Palestine, dictatorships in Chile and Argentina,
And the U.S. at Guantanamo Bay.
They do not want me to be a river, but I am unstoppable. I am the perfect instrument capable of every sound. But here, the only sound you hear under me is...
No, please.
Men in uniforms strap them to the wood and call it waterboarding. As if drowning was an amusing summer sport. They tilt their heads back, warm their nose and throat, until they can't breathe without sucking me inside their lungs. I see only panic.
This is inhumane. This is cruel. This is torture.
This is torture. Stop the torture at Guantanamo Bay.
The men in uniform say they do this to get the information.
The Khmer Rouge puts a damp cloth over the head to keep water clinging to the face. The CIA put plastic wrap over the mouth and nose to prevent water from escaping through the sinuses. Key points: keep the chest elevated above the neck to keep the lungs above the waterline. Incline the head both to keep the throat open and present the nostrils for easier filling.
I do not know what this getting means. I only know swallow and crush, undertow and reptile. I have been the moon's husband. But here, a taste of mold and rust.
And then, did they take you back to your room?
I was told by them to take off all my clothes, so I did as ordered. I was ordered to lay on a bench, and they tied my feet, hands, and neck to that bench with my face upward. They placed cloth on my face, and then with water from the faucet they poured on me until I became unconscious. He repeated that 4 or 5 times.
I do not know what desperation feels like, but I can imagine it is why the water in these men crawls out of their eyes to say hello.
You mean you got water and poured it down your throat?
No, sir, on my face.
And you couldn't breathe?
No, I could not, and so for a time I lost consciousness. Then I vomited the water from my stomach, and the consciousness came back again for me.
Strange, isn't it? To be 70% thing, and yet to still recoil when you hear its rush.
Where did the water come from?
Oh, don't you know that you're made of me?
From my mouth and all openings of my face.
How many times did this happen?
Around 4 or 5 times, from 2 till 4 in the afternoon. And when I was no longer able to endure the punishment, I told a lie. I just wanted to stop the torture.
Was it painful?
Not so painful, but one becomes unconscious, like drowning in the water.
Like you were drowning.
You could hardly breathe. I was alive, and I was drowning.
I understand why you do this. I know what it is to close your eyes and see only thousands dead. Someone has laid at your doorstep. You have filled me with shipwreck and slave holes, but still you holler loud with your proud American heart. And I wish I could stop floating in you. I wish I could return to the clouds and kiss the lightning with my wet throat. But I am locked in your muscle as you beat
over a 17 million Americans are on the unofficially category 3
The water was rising fast.
Water is inches away from seeping in. Start moving things now. Save everything you can.
I saw a wave of water outside the window. It was a matter of minutes before the water would come gushing in.
Save everything now. I think the car is flooded. There's no way out.
I remember putting all the kitchen chairs on top of the table and grabbing the shoes from the floor and throwing them on top of the refrigerator. I even saved a vase that my nonna made when she was in the nursing home. Stop coming in and out of the apartment! I watched in horror as the water floating after him.
Our neighborhood had never flooded before.
We didn't know that the cheap drywall of the apartment could become waterlogged.
He didn't know that the walls could collapse.
We didn't know our plans would end so quickly.
We stayed. My fault. We lived in a solid 2-story brick house. For 6 years we lived there, never once flooded. I thought we were fine. We were. Until the levees broke. The water was coming up so fast, we scrambled upstairs from the first floor.
The water came right behind us, waltzing up the stairs like it owned the place. As quick as a wink, the water was swirling around our ankles on the second floor. So we ran up to the attic. Then, the lights went out. I could see flashes and sparks from the transporter down the bottom. The water was bluish, blackish, and black.
Water tugged off our waist. Just stopped. It filled up our pants pockets, then stopped like it wanted to. People were young. Banging around the roofs of the houses from the inside. They're trying to come up to their attic to escape, but got themselves stuck with no way to break out. But here was a flooding, and that nasty water drowned folks like rats from their own houses.
I couldn't tell you exactly where the yelling was coming from, because everything was echoing off the water and spitting from every which way. I saw a dead man fall back. Mouth open, face all puffed up. It was bad. And then something hit my leg. And I saw the body of a young boy. He drowned the next day.
Human influence on the climate system is clear. And recent greenhouse gas emissions are the highest in history.
The scientific consensus is clear. A landmark study evaluated that over 13,000 scientists confirm that global warming is real and largely caused by humans.
There is a garbage patch in our Pacific Ocean that weighs approximately 80,000 tons. Plastic bags, plastic bottles, children's toys.
The coral reef is dying. The whales are beaching themselves.
The oceans are dying!
The greatest lie in all of mythology is the gods, spirits, and idols created man. I know you find comfort in the thought of being made in the reflection of divinity. But I am not divine. And we did not make you. You created us. I am made in your flawed image. I am humanity's broken creation. You gave me dominion over all water, all life. I control all that fall under my reign, just as you say I should.
But I am not perfect. When you gave me your strength, you also gave me your weakness. When I am angry, I flood the cities till they are submerged. When I am sad, I freeze the world over. And when you make me happy, I throw a rainbow across the sky. I am just as petty and temperamental as you are, and just as unforgiving.
In Greek mythology, the rivulet's water makes you forget. Perhaps not all mythos are fiction, because you seem to have forgotten. Your ancestors forged through ritual and storytelling. But you mock your past as primitive and have left me to decay.
Unlike you, I cannot forget, and your transgressions have brought your past sins to the forefront of my mind and wrought my fury.
I am sorry for my destruction.
Are you sorry for